welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I am your host, Heather. This is episode 12, definitely a Monday. It is Monday, January 28th, 2013. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. Promise that I'm not going to be all the whole podcast, but for about 30 seconds, let me just be whiny. Go ahead and fast forward if you don't want to listen to it. Today feels like a total Monday. I just woke up and I was like, I don't want to get out of bed. In days when I didn't have children to take care of, I would have just stayed in bed. But I have 2 kids, so I had to get out of bed. And here I am. Hopefully this podcast will go well. Okay. This Selfish Craft Along is still going on. You know, it would probably make a lot of sense if I put a link to that chatter in the show notes. I really feel like I haven't done that. Maybe I did that last week, but I don't think I did, and I didn't check. So I'm going to do that this week so that if you're finding me through the blog, you can also find a link to Ravelry and not have to search around. The lighting is really off today, P.S., because it is raining outside and I don't have good lighting equipment, so I apologize in advance for the crap lighting that you're going to have to deal with. Anyway, Selfish Knit Along. Any project you're making for yourself using a Ravelry sanctioned craft, please tag your projects with BPHSELF for Bunnyfish Selfish. It can be a new project or a work in progress. And the deadline for that is the 18th of February 2013. The prize will be a pair of socks knit for you by me. And this week I have another yarn for you to consider. This is Knit Picks Essentials Oak Kettle hand dyed. It's a brown color. I'll put a picture of all 5 yarns up for you to see with decent light so you can have a good idea. I'll put that in right here. I did not buy this yarn. I actually won this yarn from another podcast giveaway, and I will be talking about that podcast later. So it's this really pretty brown color, and it's a semi-solid. I think none of the other yarns were semi-solid. I mean, it's basically a solid. There's just slight variation because it's kettle dyed. I have my project here. I did Kaime by Cookie A using Plymouth Happy Feet. I have the tag this week. Look at that. In color 1. And it is a green color. I used US size 2, 2.75 millimeter. And last week I was about here. And this week I have 2 socks. Yay! Let me slip this on my hand to show you the pattern. It's got these lovely hearts that slant across the foot. Can you see? I know the lighting is wretched. Of course, this will be linked in the show notes, so you can look at my project page and see a better picture of them. And I'm going to put these on now because my feet are cold. I've been waiting all day to slip these on. I really, really, really love the way that this yarn feels on my feet. And I just put that one on the wrong foot. Let me try this again. I have only used this yarn once before. I made a pair of socks for my sister, and now I'm a little bit jealous that I used this sock yarn for her and didn't save it all for myself. But I do have this one pair of socks for me out of this yarn, and I love them. Let's see. Bloop. There's my foot. See how nice it fits and how nice it looks? I made a couple of modifications to the pattern. I used size 2, calls for size 1. I only cast on 60 stitches instead of the 66 it called for because that was my phone. Last time I made myself socks, I cast on 64 stitches using size 2 needles, and it was too big. Sorry, I'm going to turn the sound off on my phone. Podcast, that's my boyfriend asking me what I'm doing. So I'm going to tell him. Sorry. And volume turned off. Here we go. Yeah, so I went up in needle size. I cast on less stitches, and for the toe, instead of decreasing all the way down to where you're supposed to, I only decreased to a total of 32 stitches left on the needles and Kitchenered 16 for each side, because don't lean back in your chairs. It's a good way to chip your elbow. I did that, but look at how wide my foot is. I have Flintstone feet. You see that? So leaving the toe wider worked better for my foot. It was a happy accident, and I'm glad it happened that way. And I totally chipped my elbow by leaning back in a chair when I was in 5th grade, and that was just in time for the standardized test where you had to do a lot of writing, and I chipped my right elbow, and I'm right-handed, so I had to type my essay with one hand. That was not very fun. So don't lean back in your chairs. Yay, hypocrisy. That is my only finished object for the week. I had the first sock done on Friday night, and then Saturday I didn't do a lot of crafting. I don't know, I was in a funk. So I just didn't do a lot of crafting. So yesterday I powered through the rest of the second sock. I mean, Saturday I did a little bit of work. I got through the heel, and that's about it. Maybe one pattern repeat into it, but yesterday I was just like, I'm working on the sock and that's it. So I have new socks, and they're so comfortable and warm. On to works in progress. I am still spinning. This is all the progress that I made. This is a few hours of spinning, but I'm spinning really, really thin, and I'm wrapping really nicely, which I know totally doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but my goal with this is not to get it done quickly. It's just to really, really enjoy the spinning, and it's kind of meditative winding it like that. I don't know if you can see how prettily that is wrapped, but I think I have that on my stash page, how prettily it's wrapped, so you can see that. That is going to take forever. That is from a sheep named Domino from Nistock Farms, Nistock Farms, Nistock Farms, you can look it up. They sell fleeces. I got it as a roving from Carrie, and I'm looking forward to spinning that for the next, ever, because I'm spinning it pretty thin. Can you see how thin that is? A little. If I bring it across my face, can you see? Probably not, because the lighting is not so great. I am still working on snuggle number 2. Oh, caught on yarn. Here it is. This is folded in half. You can't even see all of it. Maybe you can. It's a bit wider than I intended. It's 39 inches instead of 36, because this is going to be a 36 by 36, well, 36 by 39 snuggle. I don't know how long this is. I can't gauge lengths at all. I'm totally terrible at it, and I didn't measure it beforehand. But I have a question for you guys. I would like your input. Help me out. I am using leftover blue and white from my best friend's ex-boyfriend blanket that I was making, but then frogged. And I am almost out of leftover yarn scraps. I'll put a picture of what I have left here. So my question is, once I use up all of those scraps, should I continue on with black and white using skeins of yarn from my stash? I have like 7 big skeins of black and probably 3 skeins of like standard Fred Hart Super Saver sized white. I think that's right. Or should I use remnants of yarn like the Caron 1 pound from my mom, and I have other acrylic balls just hanging out. So black and white, or go ahead and switch to using color. Let me know what you think in the thread for this episode. I probably have enough to get through maybe this entire week, maybe, but maybe not. So when you see this episode, let me know. I'm also working on the Lapcan. I'm on the 3rd square, started it last night when we had company because I'm really lame, and yes, I will knit when I have company over. I made dinner, I get to sit after and relax and knit. So far, the colors I've used are this Tudors color and cream. I don't know the name of the cream yarn, it's probably just cream, but I didn't look it up. And then this brown is called barley, and then that same cream. And then a blue scrappy bit. This is the end of what I have for this blue scrappy bit, striped with the barley. And I have another unnamed blue in this yarn that was also in my stash. This is all Lion Brand homespun. I'm pretty sure it's all Lion Brand homespun. This is questionable, but it's about the same weight and kind of the same texture, so close enough. And this is size 10, 6mm needles. I think I've decided that I'm going to make it 4 squares wide and 5 squares long, or 5 squares wide and 4 squares long, however you want to look at it. I think that's my plan. I did the math and I'm pretty sure that 20 squares was how much I could make out of the yarn that I had received and had in stash based on weight. I have to say that I really, really, really love having a kitchen scale for weighing yarn. It makes figuring out projects so much easier. Oh, for the snuggle, in case you're wondering, I'm holding the yarn double, which is why it looks like that. And I'm using a USK 6.5mm hook. My last work in progress this week is, sorry, I need to move this out of my way. I'm all over the place. I told you I'm having a Monday. Mandy's thigh highs. They are officially at the halfway point for length on the legs, which is more than half of the work for the length because, let's see if I can find it. Well, let me show you first. This is what they look like. I have a yarn barf right there because I'm getting close to the ends of the first skeins of yarn. See how pretty it is? Okay, now I'm going to show you the excitingness of decreases. Okay, see right around here? Just 2 sets of decreases, an inch apart, about. Yep. I am at smaller, I am working at less stitches per round, and in another 1/4 of an inch, I think, I get to do the first of a set of 2 decreases again. So these are going to go, well, they're kind of going to go much faster, but maybe not, depending on what happens February 1st. So here you go, once again. This is made using Serenity Sock Weight Premier Yarns in colorway Charcoal. Yes, I already have the next 2 balls of yarn waiting in my project bag, which is not actually a project bag. This is an Enfamil bag. It's one of those bags that they give you in the hospital when you have children, when you have your baby, with some formula in it. But it's the perfect size for these socks because these are bigger than normal size socks. What I normally use for a project bag for socks is this right here. It came with a project at like one of those silent auction things for charity where you put in, I can't remember if it was tickets or, I didn't win it. Mary Lee's mom, who passed away, she had won it, and Mary Lee gave it to me when we were cleaning out her mom's room, because at that time Mary Lee did not crochet, but then I taught her to crochet, so now she crochets. And she spins. I'm so excited about getting her into those things. Someday, Mary Lee, knitting. I'm going to teach you, and then you can make epic socks for yourself. Also, how is it that I have not made socks for Mary Lee yet? I don't know how this happened. Mary Lee, we need to discuss this and fix it. Okay, on to Sock Yarn Blanket. It got some love this week. I did 5 squares. The first one, I can't show you the yarn because I used up the last of it. Yay! It was Peyton's Croy FX in camo colors. It transitioned through a lot of like grays with a little bit of blue and a little bit of green and a little bit of brown, but mostly gray. So I'm kind of excited that that's used up because even though I like gray and even though I like it in my blanket, I just want brighter colors. So other than that, I used, you're going to laugh though, I just told you that, and you're going to laugh when you see other colors that I used. So I used Croy Rag Shades in Gray Brown Marl, but I only used a brown portion. The square is completely brown. For shame, square, for shame. And then I used this Marathon Socks in Phoenix, but you see those lovely reds and dark blues and the brown stripy pattern thing? No. I only got the section that was cream, and then there's a light blue that almost vanishes in the cream, and a tan which almost vanishes in the light blue and cream. So not a brighter square. I mean, it's lighter, but it's not like this one. This is Well Heeled. It's Yarn Bee Walkaway, and the colorway is Well Heeled. And it is brown and light pink and bright dark pink and blue and green. I'm quite fond of it. So that made it into the blanket this week. And this is Premier Yarn Serenity Sock Weight in the colorway Violas. And it is self-striping with 4 different color purples. I made my sister socks out of that because she is the purple girl. And brain fart. I don't know what I was going to say. I lost where I was going with that. But yeah, my sock yarn blanket is getting some love. And I'm excited about that because, I set it down for a while there. And I really do want it to get finished. I really, really love the project, and I don't make myself a lot of stuff generally, so I'm trying really hard to work on the sock yarn blanket and not keep putting it aside, which I keep doing anyway. On to ideas. This strand of hair just doesn't want to cooperate. It's because I'm having a Monday. Okay, you can just, there, go behind that ear. Go. Nerd Wars Tournament 7 starts later this week, so I am not casting on any new things. I am just working away furiously at the works in progress that I have since I finished off these socks. Probably going to be mostly working on that Snuggle and Amanda's socks for the next few days until the Nerd Wars challenges come out. And then I'm going to try to fit the following things into challenges. Obviously not all of these things will fit into challenges, but I'm going to do my best. But mostly they won't all fit because I just have too many projects that I want to get done. They changed Nerd Wars this time. There are only 5 challenges instead of 6. Giving Geeks is still there, which is where Nerd Wars do something charitable and donate to a charity, make something to donate to a charity, do a, one of the challenges was to do something for someone you know who's having a hard time. So that category is still there, but all the other categories are new. And there's only 4 of them. And one of them is a work in projects challenge, so there's only 3 challenges in which to fit new projects. Anyway, what I want to get done in February and hope to fit into Nerd Wars, I'm going to do 2-color spinning, which Diane from Knittables is having a spin along. It's to take 2 different colorways of fiber, preferably things that you would never spin together, you would never think to spin together, and spin those together. So I'm going to be spinning, let me get up and get it, it's right over here. I'm going to be spinning some more fiber that I got from Carrie. There's this blue, both of them are mystery fibers. There's this blue that, I don't know, looks kind of questionable, but I'll be spinning that. And this purple. I'm definitely not planning on spinning these really, really thin because Nerd Wars is 28 days and I want to get both of those 2-ounce bits spun and then plied for Nerd Wars and also for the spin along. So look for that next month. I'm going to be making Mandy's sweater in 28 days. Also for Knittables Knit Along, it's for a sweater, which ends on the 27th, so in 27 days. And also for Nerd Wars, I will be making the 4 can cozies for my mom's friend, well, her friend's daughter. Those shouldn't take too long though. Those are like half a day a piece projects. I'm going to be using crocodile stitch, so that's why they take a little longer than just making a can cozy. I'm going to be making another pair of socks for me. I haven't picked out the yarn yet because I'm going to pick out the yarn and pattern after the Nerd Wars challenges go up, because that is definitely something that I'm going to fit into Nerd Wars. I also want to do another snuggle. So snuggle number 3. I'm going to try to do a 3rd one for the Yarnivore podcast craft along to make snuggles for local animal shelters and donate those. And then for the work in progress challenge, I am going to finish Mandy's socks yes, by the end of February, those will be done. Those thigh highs will be done. I might not sleep because I'm finishing those thigh highs and making another pair of socks and making a sweater and spinning 4 ounces of fiber on a drop spindle. There might not be sleep, but those things will get done. And the rest of this list. So Mandy's socks and the black and white, so far, Snuggle, will get done. Those are going to be my work in progress challenge answers, as long as the works in progress challenge is the same as the way it has worked in the past. Which they might change it up. I don't know. It's totally new and I can't wait to see what happens at midnight, well, at 12:01 a.m. on February 1st. And then I have another idea for something I want to do. Remember Rachel's Afghan? I'm going to do another one. Not for Rachel this time, for Mary Lee. This is probably why Mary Lee hasn't gotten socks yet, because I just make her other things. And I did make her a pair of slippers for Christmas, so that's like almost socks, but not really. So I'm going to make her a Afghan using the squares from the 2013 Block a Month Crochet Along. So look for those. I'm probably going to make that its own segment like Rachel's Afghan was. On to new things. I'm going to preface this by saying I did not forget that I didn't want to buy things without having purpose in mind. I didn't forget. I still know that's what I want to do. However, Nooch Fiber was having a flash sale after Nooch Fibers after, I don't know if it was just Mariana or if it was Mariana and Nick, the owners, both of them, who went to Arizona, but definitely Mariana went to, I think it was Arizona. Sorry if I'm wrong, Mariana. You let me know. They had a flash sale for one day and it was 25% off stuff. And I was like, oh, Nooch Fiber is having a fiber sale, I said to my boyfriend. And he was like, oh yeah? And I was like, yeah, they have some really pretty things. So I sent him links to like 6 or 7 things that I really liked. And all of a sudden, he was like, oh, that's not bad prices, blah, 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 and was ordering me stuff. And I was like, I'm not going to argue if you're going to buy me things. So my boyfriend, who complains constantly about all the time that my knitting takes up, really knows that knitting and crocheting and crafting makes me happy. So when I was like, blah, 25% sale, he was like, okay, and he bought me some stuff. So this is not me purchasing. This is him purchasing me presents because it was on sale. Okay, first, this is Morningside Sock, which is 100% superwash merino. It's a 2-ply, and you should probably just go look at my stash page on Ravelry because I don't think you can see the gorgeousness of these colors. This is called Murky 2. I don't remember if I said that. Murky 2. And they had a, this is TOO, not TWO. But they had a murky colorway that I saw before their Thanksgiving sale, their Cyber Monday sale, and I was like, oh, I love that. But by the time I went to the shop to buy things, that one was scooped up. So then they posted this one, and I was like, oh, I want that, but I wasn't buying yarn. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just live without having it. And then that sale happened, and he thought this was really pretty too, so he bought it for me, and I'm so excited to have this color in my life, this yarn. It does not have a purpose in its life yet, except I know it's going to be something that I can see all the time, so it can't go to you. I'm sorry. I need something to drink. Can you hear Gabriel playing on the stairs? He is not listening today at all. he's been in trouble like 50 times today, and right this minute I don't have the energy to deal with it. So you might hear him playing on the stairs. Okay, this is Central Park Fingering, and I believe it's a new base. It's a single ply, and it's a light fingering. Well, on the lighter side of fingering, I feel. And it's called Storm. It is 100% superwash merino. The other yarn that I got was a 2-ply. And this is gorgeous. And there's a really lacy pair of socks that I've been wanting to make for myself, but I've been waiting for the right yarn to come along. And I think this is the right yarn. I think the colors are beautiful and won't be too jarring in this lacy pattern, and I don't think you can see the depth of those colors, but on my project page there's a really good picture. My stash page, not project page. There's a really good picture. Also, during the sale, no, I did not just buy yarn. Well, he did not just buy me yarn. Also got this fiber. It is 3.4 ounces in the colorway Nearly Headless Knit, and it is 100% Peruvian wool, which, unless the mystery fibers are 100% Peruvian wool, I have not spun yet. So I'm looking forward to spinning that. I actually asked him if he would buy me a fiber, and it was a toss-up between this lovely blue and a purple. But I went with blue just because, no real reason. So that's going to be really nice to spin up, and I'm kind of thinking that that might be something that I spin up for Nerd Wars this tournament, not in February, but March or April. I'm thinking that's going to get spun up.
Mama, tattoo.
Okay, you come here too. We have a co-host. It's not worth arguing. Careful. And as little goodies, Mariana sent me, well, Mariana, Nick, and Neutron, the cat, Nooch. They sent me these little
I see.
minis. They sent me mini skeins.
Mama.
And this is a light green in MCN, Merino Cashmere Nylon. It's 5 grams. They're both 5 grams. And this is 100% Superwash Merino. And it is a light blue. So you know where these are going? Into my sock yarn blanket. I know my first MCN is going into my sock yarn blanket, not on my feet or into a shawl. But they're going to be really, Gabriel just undid it, really gorgeous together. I am still trying to decide if I'm going to stripe them or just make them individual squares. Kind of thinking I might make them individual squares. I don't have a lot of light colored solid squares in my blanket. I have some browns and grays solids, but Gabriel would like to show you the happy feet tag. Good job.
Thank you.
So that is from Nooch Fiber, which is, you can see their Etsy shop. I think you can see that.
Mama,
And they always send such nice little notes on the back. The last new thing I have, I've actually had for a while now. It came in a swap package, and my partner sent me Stylecraft Vision in the colorway 1498 green sleeves. And this is a DK weight yarn, and I don't think I've worked with a DK weight yarn before. I mean, I made my sister a little prawn, which may have been DK weight yarn. It definitely wasn't worsted, and it was 100% acrylic, so it may have been DK weight. But I've never used DK weight, and it is 618 yards total. So if you would like to give me some input on what to maybe make out of this really pretty green, I would like the input, since I have no idea. Ideally it would be for me because green's my favorite color and I really, really like this. It's 80% acrylic and 20% wool. I don't know if that makes a difference in you offering pattern suggestions, but that's what it is. The books I'm reading are all the same things as last week. Malice by Chris Wooding. It's getting, it's less scary. I think I'm going to finish it this week for sure. I have 140 pages to go, but some of that is comic book, so, less than that. It got left in the car for almost a week, which is why I still have so much of it to go. But I think it's going to move up to my bedtime reading because I'm less scared of it now. I think reading for like 4 days for, 15 minutes at a time in the sunlight made it way less scary. Make the bread by the butter. I'm going to be finishing this today because I only have 10 pages left and, the recipes, so they don't take that long to read. And I have 2 discs left in the Sword of Avalon. Good thing I'm going to the library tomorrow because other than these things, I only have an audiobook out. And yeah, I could pull a book off of my shelf to read, but strangely, I'm much more interested in reading library books. I think because there's a deadline, so it pushes me to actually read the books in a decent amount of time. On to my list. I am going to tell you about 3 podcasts that I am watching. They're added to my rotation. I've watched all the episodes, so yeah. No, I'm not going to say pretty much. I just am only going to tell you about podcasts once I have watched all of the episodes. So, 90% Knitting. Lisa is the host, and she has her daughter on for a couple episodes. She is the brains behind Fiber Nymph Dye Works, which I have not worked with, but I really, really want to, especially because in her latest store update, she has this brilliant idea. She does self-striping yarns with opposing colorways. Like, I think she had a black and red color, or like a black and scarlet. So it was thick scarlet, thin black, thick scarlet, thin black would be your stripe pattern on one sock, and then your other sock would be thick black, thin scarlet, thick black, thin scarlet. And I really, really want that in my life. But I never managed to catch her shop updates. So maybe someday. Also, in her shop, she has, not in her shop, she is the brains behind the Nyan Cat colorway, and I really, really, really want that, but it's got a huge wait list, so I'm probably not ever going to get it. Anyway, I really enjoy her podcast. She's got good energy and is a lot of fun. My second is Dramatic Knits, which is where I won the yarn from, the brown yarn. He and she, it's 2 people. Steve is the main host, and he is there every week and has been there from the beginning. And I guess somewhere around the halfway-ish point for how many shows they have right now. His friend Callie, who he met at the local yarn shop, she started co-hosting, and she's not there every week because she is super busy, and Gabriel is driving me crazy. She comes sometimes, but Steve and Callie are really, really fun, and it is a theater-themed podcast. And the contest I won was a Name That Musical contest where Steve played a sound clip from a musical and you had to identify the musical. And I did, and I won. And it was really exciting because when he said, entrant number 24. I was like, oh, that's me. I know that's me. And then as I was waiting for him to figure out the name, I was like, well, what if it wasn't me? What if I just got all excited and it wasn't even me? But then it was me. So I'm really excited to have that brown, because if one of you don't pick it, then I already know who's getting it. If one of you does pick it because you like the brown, that's totally okay, because I have a backup choice for this person. But anyway, Steve and Callie, they are really, really funny. They have good chemistry between them. They crack me up. Steve, my boyfriend, asked me multiple times what I was laughing at, and I was like, oh, this podcast is hilarious. He thinks I'm crazy. But that's okay. And the third one is Heartland Knits, which is hosted by Vicky, who is so cute and very, very sweet. She does a lot of sweaters and big shawls and lacy stuff, and she spins, and when I grow up, I kind of want to be like her and do big girl projects instead of 11 billion pairs of socks, even though I love making socks. But maybe I'll love making sweaters too. Anyway, she is fantastic. That is everything I have for this week. I hope you enjoyed watching, bad lighting and all. And I hope you made something awesome with your sticks and string. Happy Monday!